Hi everybody. In this video we are going to solve systems of equations by substitution. Remember last time we talked about how there were more than one way to solve systems. We can solve from graphing, substitution, and elimination. So right now we're on the substitution form of solving systems of equations. Remember, systems is when you have more than one equation with the same variables. So there's two equations here. This one has x and y, and this one also has x and y. What I like to do when we're solving systems by substitution is I like to determine which one. I use the analogy of a substitute when you're playing a sport. So we've got some players that we have that are extra, that we have kind of sitting on the bench beside the game, waiting to be put in. Put me in, coach, put me in. So those players are going to be our substitutes, and the ones that are, the ones that are actually playing, those are going to be the ones that are actually out on the field going. And so we take our substitute and we put them in on the field. So let's look at this first example here. So we're going to look at these two, and the one that we want to use for a substitute is the one that says y equals or x equals, because it means we're going to take a player and we're going to substitute them with somebody on the bench. So this is going to be my team. This is what we would call this blue one. We're going to call this one my team. And the reason that I'm going to call it my team is because everybody's on the same side playing together. Okay, x and y are on the same side, so that's our team. And this one, the one that I'm going to color green, that's going to be my bench. So the reason that this one is, these are the ones that are on my bench, is because x and y are on opposite sides. It's saying y is worth this number. Okay, these are my substitutes. Okay, so team is the blue one and bench is the green one. And what we're going to do is we're going to rewrite it, but instead of, so who are we going to replace? Who is going to come in from the bench here? Well, we're going to look at it and it says y equals. So that means player y is going to be substituted out. Okay, we're going to pull this one from the bench. So we're going to use the bench and pull out the y. Okay, so we're going to come down here and notice how I circled just the y. We're going to write everything else except for the y. And where we see y, we're going to put in the green guy. Okay? So it's going to be x plus 2. And now see how there's a circle here? Instead of a circle in math, we use parentheses. So we'll put a big old parentheses open, and we're not going to write y, and then we'll say equals 8. And then instead of putting in y, we're going to put in this 2x minus 1. See how it says y equals? So instead of that, we're going to put this whole 2x minus 1 in. So 2x minus 1 goes inside the parentheses. So that's what we put in instead of y. Okay, because it says y is equal to that. So we replaced it. Instead of putting the y, we put this 2x minus 1. And now you just draw the divider line and you solve. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to distribute the 2. So this is 4x minus 2. And on this side we have plain old x, and all of that equals 8. Then you're going to combine like terms. So 1x plus 4x is 5x. So this is 5x minus 2 is equal to 8. Then you're going to get your x all alone by adding 2 to both sides. That cancels and you're left with 5x equals 10. And then the last thing you're going to do is divide. So you get x equals 2. Okay? Now remember, it says solve the equation for one variable. We already have it done. It says substitute in. We already did that. We solved for the remaining variable, which is x. And so now we're going to use the value from that to find the other variable that we need. And so you always take this number, I kind of call these circular problems, and you're going to take this x, and which one would it be easier to put x into? If I put x right here, instead of writing x, I put 2, would it be easier to solve for y on this one or would it be easier to solve for y on the green one? Okay, and that means that's going to be the one I pick. So since it says y equals here, I don't have to do any work besides multiply and subtract. So I'm going to say y equals 2 parentheses, and then we're going to put the 2 in, minus 1. So you get y equals 4 minus 1, which is 3. So y is equal to 3. Now technically we have all of it, but if we want the solution, the last step is to write it as an ordered pair. So the 2 comes first and the 3 comes second. So this is 2, 3, and that's my final answer. Okay? So once again, we have our team and we have our bench, and you pick your bench because x and y are on opposite sides, and then you plug in, so whatever it says is equal to, that's the one you're going to circle on your team, and you're going to substitute it with the other side on your bench. Let's look at another example on the inside. So which one's going to be my team and which one's going to be my bench? Well, let's skip number 1 and move on to number 3. Let's look at number 3. So it looks more like the front one. We'll talk about number 1 in a second. Okay, so my team, remember, is the one that has x and y playing together on the same side. So this one's my team, and this one's going to be my bench. So is x going to be substituted or is y going to be substituted in this problem? I know it's going to be y because it says y equals. So I'm going to substitute the y. Instead of writing y, I'm going to put this 2x. So you write out your problem, 6x plus 7, there's a circle here so we put parentheses, equals 20. So you write everything except for that y, and then instead of the y, you're going to put your 2x inside. And then you just solve this equation. Distribute. So this is 14x, this is 6x, and then equals 20. Notice I had to add that plus sign in there so that I knew I would put them together. Then 6x plus 14x is 20x equals 20. Last step, divide by 20, x equals 1. Now I'm not done yet. I got to go back and find y. So remember, you take this number and you go all the way up. It's typically going to be your bench that you're going to substitute your x back into. Okay, and the reason for that is because the bench is always the one that's solved for one letter. So y equals 2x. So you say y equals 2 parentheses, and instead of writing x, you write 1. So y equals 2, because 2 times 1 is 2. And now we're going to write our ordered pair, and that's going to be x is 1 and y is 2. And you're done. So it looks super hard, but it's actually very simple. Alright, so now let's look at number 4. I'm going to go ahead and have you solve number 4 on your own. Use example 3 and example, the one from the front, to help you out. So we've done 2. I want you to try 4 on your own. Okay? So go ahead and solve number 4. Alright, so you should have solved number 4. Let's go ahead and solve it now together. Remember, this is my team, and I know it's my team because x and y are on the same side of the equal sign. And this is my bench, so this is what I'm going to substitute with. And I know it's my bench because x and y are on opposite sides of the equal sign. So I'm going to trade out which letter in the blue equation. I'm going to trade out the letter y. Okay. So instead of putting the y, I'm going to put parentheses because I circled my y here. So we say 8x plus 5 parentheses equals 6. And instead of this green y, I'm going to put 5x plus 21. Make sure you leave enough space to write in there. I wrote kind of small. See if I can fit it all in there now. Plus 21. Okay, so now we're just going to draw our border and divide. So this, solve. So this is 5 times 5 is 25x, and 5 times 21 is 105. And then 8x over here. And then we combine our like terms. So 25 plus 8 is 33. And then we're going to subtract. 33x equals 99. And it's a negative 99. And now we're going to divide by 33. So x equals negative 3. Now we're not done. Remember, we take this back up to the one that's solved for already, or what we called our bench. So we take it back up to the green one. And then we picked this equation because it says y equals. We already know what x is, so we're trying to find y, so this is the easiest one to use. So then we say y equals 5 times negative 3 plus 21. And if you do that on your calculator, you get 6. I'm going to do it by hand. Negative 15 plus 21, so y equals 6. And remember, my answer has to be an ordered pair, so it'll be negative 3 comma 6. Okay? Alright. Examples 1 and example 2 are a little bit different, because if you notice on 4, do you see how it says x and y on opposite sides and x and y on the same side? But on example 2 and example 1, they both say y equals. Okay? So if two things are equal to the same number or the same set of numbers, then you can say that they're equal to each other. So if this one says y equals and this one says y equals, all you do is say negative 8 is equal to 2x minus 12, because they both say that they're the same. They equal the same number. Okay? So negative 8 equals 2x minus 12, and then you just solve that. So you're going to add 12 to both sides. So you get 4 equals 2x. Divide by that 2. X equals 2. Now we also have to figure out what y is. Well, look at your top up here. Can we figure out y really easily? Yes. I don't have to plug this 2 in because it already says that y is worth negative 8. Does that make sense? So all we have to do is say x is 2, y is negative 8, and then that's my answer. So we can set them equal to each other because they both say that they're equal to y. And y is some random number. We know it's negative 8. So we could just say if y is negative 8, then we just substitute this with negative 8, right? Because they're the same thing. Alright, look at number 2. They both say y equals, so you just cover them up and you're going to say 6x equals 5x plus 7. And then you just solve it. You draw your border. Minus 5x minus 5x. This is 1x equals 7. Oh, that says 1x already. I'm good. So x is 7. And now how do I get y? Well, you pick one of these and you plug in your 7. Which one seems easier? Well, this one, because it only has multiplication. So you're going to plug in your 7. So you say y equals 6 times 7. And so y equals 42. And then you write your ordered pair. X is 7, y is 42. And you're done. So that's solving using substitution. Okay? Remember, the steps are figure out which one is your bench and which one is your team. This blue is my team here. Figure out what person on your team you're substituting. Are you substituting x or are you substituting y? You figure that out by looking at the bench. If it says y equals, that's the one that you're substituting in the team. Then you solve, get a number. Whatever you get, you take that back and plug it into the bench. And then you solve that and get a number, and you'll write your ordered pair. Thanks so much for watching.